Suspect in the stabbing of MoMA employees has been identified by police. The defendant, Gary Cabana, was accused of hitting the workers after his membership was terminated, according to the police. 2 staff were stabbed inside the Museum of Modern Art in Midtown on Saturday afternoon, leading in a chaotic scene that sent patrons fleeing. Credit. The New York Times CS. Muncy on Saturday afternoon, authorities said, a man who was denied access to the Museum of Modern Art because his membership had been cancelled leapt over the registration desk and attacked 2 staff. Surveillance video from the museum on West 53rd Street showed the attack, which police published on Sunday along with images of the suspect, Gary Cabana, 60, who was still on the run. According to police, the victims, a 24-year-old lady stabbed in the back and neck and a 24-year-old man wounded in the left collarbone, are in stable condition at Bellevue Hospital. The man can be seen barreling through a rotating door and climbing across the wooden counter with a knife in his hand, cornering 3 individuals behind the desk, according to the video. He starts jabbing and swinging the knife after stumbling into a wall, while the employees cower behind the desk. He grabs one worker as he tries to get by him, then swings the knife into the worker's torso, according to the footage. The assailant then lets go of the worker. As a man in a suit threw stuff at him, another worker manages to flee past the assailant. Mr. Cabana's last known address was a supportive housing residence in Midtown run by a nonprofit called Breaking Ground, which provides shelter for the homeless, the mentally ill, and those diagnosed with HIV/AIDS, according to the police. He had no prior arrests, according to the police. During a press conference following the event, police officials said the suspect's membership had been revoked by letter on Friday, but he showed up at the museum on Saturday to view a film. The membership had expired as a result of 2 events involving disruptive conduct here at the museum on 2 different dates in recent days, according to John Miller, Deputy Commissioner for the Police Department's Intelligence and Counterterrorism Bureaus. When the attacker was denied access, he became enraged, according to Mr. Miller, and attacked and stabbed 2 museum staff many times. He went on to say that the attacker was caught on camera exiting the museum following the attack. He was described as a Caucasian male with a blue medical mask and a multicolored patterned blouse underneath a black jacket. Mr. Miller claimed that he was known to the department as a result of 2 previous incidents in the same area, and that he was a frequent visitor to MoMA. Mr. Miller said he didn't have an lengthy record, or any arrest records that we are aware of. On Sunday, the museum was closed. Inquiries about whether a press person was available did not receive a prompt response. Police arrived at Mr. Cabana's apartment complex on Sunday afternoon but declined to speak. Mr. Cabana, according to a fellow tenant, spent a lot of time in the building's basement computer lab. Wilfredo, 65, said he goes down there and chats on the computer. On Sunday, the incident happened just before a 4:30 showing of Bringing Up Baby, a 1938 picture. Alessandro Pugliese, a 24-year-old communications professional, claimed he arrived at MoMA for the film when 3 personnel at a desk near the museum's cinema entrance began yelling. He stated he turned around and saw the attacker knife one guy in the back and another in the neck after turning around. To distract the attacker, the security guard near the entry picked up what appeared to be a huge binder and threw it at him. When the attacker asked where the security guard's gun was, he was still carrying his knife. He then dashed out of the museum. Mr. Pugliese added, I was totally stunned and just sort of froze. Fear was fueled, according to many guests, by shouts of gunfire. There was no sign that shots had been fired, according to the police. Julia Garcia Valles, a 24-year-old Spanish tourist, was in line to enter MoMA on West 53rd Street when individuals shooting, began to run out the doors in a panic. She claimed that some people fell to the floor as a result of the confusion. We were terrified, she continued. Mayor Eric Adams was briefed on the attack, which appeared to be an isolated criminal occurrence, according to Fabian Levy, a spokeswoman for the mayor. The mayor had been briefed about the attack, which appeared to be an isolated criminal occurrence, according to Eric Adams. When Alyssa Katz, deputy editor of the local news site The City, arrived at the museum to meet up with friends, she noticed people hurrying out. Ms. Katz, 53, said she met with 2 terrified French tourists who claimed to have witnessed someone being stabbed in the underarm area. when a security guard told her friend Mike Rubin, 55, a writer who contributes to the New York Times and other magazines, to leave the building immediately. He was waiting for Ms. Katz in the lobby. It was like a telephone game, he added, of the folks who had to get out. No one had any idea what was going on. When the disturbance started, Christian Desrosiers, a 34-year-old entrepreneur, said he was getting his ticket scanned. He went on to say that he was one of the first individuals to flee after seeing 3 women flee in front of him. I decided I'd join them until they turned around on a dime and started sprinting out, he claimed. People were visibly rushing to get out, he continued, but nobody was yelling, at least not when I was in there. Wendy Keffer, 42, was visiting the city with her husband and 2 children from Austin, Texas. When they were told to evacuate, she was walking in for a 4 p.m. slot. As we were ready to step into the museum, we noticed hundreds of people running out and everyone was saying shooter, shooter, she recalled. It was terrifying. When the event occurred, Joe Walker, a 24-year-old graduate student at Yale University who uses the pronouns they and them, was in a second-floor cafe. Because the escalator was so busy, they had to go through an emergency exit.